The air turned frigid. A shiver, unbidden and sharp, ran down my spine. It wasn't the chill of the weather. This was different. It was an icy hand gripping my insides, a feeling I knew too well. Death was close. The world seemed to dim a little, sounds becoming muffled as if a thick blanket had been thrown over everything. My breath caught in my throat, a metallic tang flooding my mouth. The scent of rain and decay, faint but unmistakable, drifted in the air, confirming my dreadful intuition. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic drum against my will. Each thump was a stark reminder of the invisible thread connecting me to the world, a thread that could be severed in an instant. Fear, cold and clammy, coiled in my gut. The scent of rain and decay. It always began this way. A subtle shift in the atmosphere, a whisper against my senses, heralding the imminent departure of a soul. It was a peculiar, dreadful gift, this sixth sense, a burden disguised as intuition. I saw my grandmother, her face ashen, the scent of rain and decay clinging to her like a shroud. I was just a child then, too young to understand the finality of death. The same scent, years later, hung heavy in the air when my best friend lost her battle with cancer. Each experience, etched into my memory, solidified the unsettling truth. I was a harbinger of sorts, a living premonition of death's approach. It was a truth I couldn't share, a secret that gnawed at my insides. This time, the premonition was stronger, more insistent. The feeling clung to me like a shroud, suffocating, inescapable. My mind raced, trying to pinpoint the source. Who was it this time? Whose life was about to be snuffed out? Faces flashed through my mind's eye. Colleagues, friends, strangers I'd passed on the street. Each face brought a fresh wave of anxiety. The uncertainty was the worst part. The burden of knowing, of feeling the approach of death, was a heavy weight on my soul. It was a dark secret, a truth I had guarded my entire life. The weight of silence was immense. How could I explain this to anyone? Who would believe me? They'd call me crazy, dismiss it as an overactive imagination. But I knew better. I had learned to trust my instincts, as unsettling as they were. I had borne witness to their chilling accuracy time and again. Every instinct screamed at me to do something, to reach out, to warn them. But who and how? The weight of my secret knowledge pressed down on me, threatening to consume me entirely. The feeling intensified as the day wore on. The scent of rain and decay grew stronger, making my stomach churn. It was a constant, unwelcome companion, a grim reaper clinging to my every sense. My reflection in the mirror seemed distant, my eyes clouded with a familiar unease. I could barely focus on work, the words blurring before my eyes. Every ring of the phone sent a jolt of fear through me. Every text message felt like a potential goodbye. The world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the inevitable. The radio on my desk crackled to life, spitting static and snippets of news. A murmur in the static caught my attention. It was a name, faint but familiar. I couldn't quite make it out. The hair on the back of my neck prickled with a sudden chill. A sense of dread, heavy and suffocating, descended upon me. It was as if the static itself was trying to tell me something, to warn me. I strained to hear, my hand hovering over the volume button. The murmur faded, leaving me with the unsettling feeling that I had missed something crucial. The internal battle raged. Should I tell someone? Warn them? But what good would it do? Would they even believe me? Or would I just be adding to their fear, their burden? The thought of staying silent was unbearable, yet the alternative seemed equally daunting. The weight of my secret knowledge was a heavy cloak, suffocating me with each passing moment. The scent of rain and decay lingered, a constant reminder of the inevitable. Time seemed to slip away, each tick of the clock a hammer blow to my sanity. My phone lay on the desk, its cold blank stare mocking me. To call or not to call, that was the question. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to reach out, to break the agonizing silence. But what would I say? How could I articulate the dreadful premonition that haunted me? The certainty of death that clung to me like a shroud. The phone felt heavy in my hand, a symbol of my own powerlessness. I was caught in a web of my own making, trapped by my gift, my curse. As the sun began its final descent, painting the sky in hues of crimson and violet, the feeling of dread reached its peak. The air grew heavy, charged with an almost tangible energy. It was the calm before the storm, the silence before the thunder. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drum against my ribs. The scent of rain and decay was overwhelming now, suffocating, inescapable. It clung to me, marking me as a witness, a harbinger of the darkness that was about to unfold. Then it hit me. The realization struck me with the force of a physical blow. The metallic tang in my mouth, the scent of rain and decay, the overwhelming sense of dread. It wasn't someone else's death I was sensing, it was my own. My breath hitched in my throat, my hand flying to my chest as if to grasp the last vestiges of life. The room seemed to spin, the colors blurring at the edges. A strange sense of calm settled over me as the world around me faded to black. The scent of rain and decay, my constant companion, no longer held any terror. It was simply a part of the journey, the final breath before the eternal silence.